What started as a strange show about rejected cartoon characters, over the years turned into a massive success, completely redefining Cartoon Network's identity and pushing the boundaries of what a kids show could be. With each season, we got more character development and the show got even better. Meanwhile, we had many behind the scenes challenges, like shifting voice actors, different animation styles, and the creator even leaving the show. Today, we're gonna go through the entire history of the amazing world of Gumball, from concept to cancellation, from the pilot to the last episode. This is the entire history of Gumball, and it all started in 2008. In the pilot, titled Gumball 1-Minute Animation Test, we get our very first look at Elmore, and even in this early version, Gumball and Darwin are already causing chaos, trying to escape school. The pilot gave us our very first look at the amazing world of Gumball, featuring familiar faces like Tina, Carmen, and even Banana Joe. And while they pretty much stayed the same design-wise, the same cannot be said about Gumball and Darwin. They both looked noticeably different from their Season 1 versions. Gumball had a more rectangular head with larger eyes, while Darwin was fully 3D instead of the flat 2D design we know today. Their designs were still evolving, and the same went for their voices. After the pilot and the show getting greenlit, Season 1 of The Amazing World of Gumball officially premiered in the US on May 3rd, 2011, and the very first episode of Gumball was the DVD. In this episode, Gumball and Darwin have one simple task: return a rented DVD, but they accidentally drop it into the garbage disposal and completely destroy it. Then they try to fake it with a cardboard replica, but that doesn't work, and they need $25 to replace it. They try everything, going from asking for money, modeling, and even making their own movie, but nothing works. Eventually, Nicole catches up to them and they pay their fee, but when she hears how much the late fees are, she takes off running too.
Just a minute. There's also the lateness fee.
Oh, yes, of course. How much is it, please?
Let me see. 3 months and 3 days late. That will be $700.
Run! Hey!
After all of that chaos with the DVD, you would think Nicole would stop trusting Gumball and Darwin with anything. But nope, because in the very next episode, The Responsible, she leaves them both in charge of babysitting Anais, while she and Richard head off to a parent-teacher conference. Now, Anais instantly proves she's way smarter than both of them. She puts out a fire, does their homework, and even makes lunch. But Gumball and Darwin insist on, quote, babysitting her, which mostly means hovering over her and getting in her way. Eventually, Anais had enough and traps Gumball and Darwin on the roof.
You goons really walked into that one.
But even the genius of their family makes mistakes. She forgot she had turned on the bath and accidentally flooded the entire house while they were playing. So Gumball and Darwin have to break back in and save her. They manage to rescue Anais, but by then, the whole house is a disaster. Everyone points fingers, and they end up blaming the internet.
It's Dad's fault for not finding a proper babysitter.
Well, none of this would have happened if it wasn't for you.
Who are you blaming here?
The internet?
Okay, fair enough.
After nearly flooding the house and proving they probably shouldn't be left home alone, Gumball and Darwin head back to school, where the chaos doesn't slow down one bit. In the next episode, the third, the duo starts feeling like something is missing, so they go on a mission to find a new best friend, which gives us our first real look at Elmore Junior High. We see returning faces from the pilot, like Tina, Banana Joe, and Leslie, but none of them meet the requirements they have for their third friend, those being athletic, colorful, and a good listener. Luckily for Gumball and Darwin, or maybe not, Tobias is eavesdropping and hears everything. He checks all the boxes and immediately offers to be their third, for $20. At first, it seemed like a great idea, but things take a turn fast, as Tobias and Darwin start growing closer, leaving Gumball feeling replaced. But after a pep talk from Alan.
I'll never forget you, Adam! Andrew! Alice!
Gumball starts to head straight for Tobias's house, finds Darwin, and the two quickly make up. And just like that, the duo is back. This episode highlights the unshakable bond between Gumball and Darwin. Even when someone like Tobias tries to come between their friendship, literally nothing can break Gumball and Darwin's brotherhood. Then comes the debt, where we meet Mr. and Mrs. Robinson. In this episode, Gumball becomes convinced he owes Mr. Robinson after he, quote, saved his life.
Save yourself! It's too late for Just get over here on the sidewalk, dude.
Please remember me, guys, so I'll always be alive in your heart.
Oh, for crying out loud.
My whole life is flashing before my eyes, and it's boring.
From there, Gumball goes all in, following Mr. Robinson everywhere and trying to save him from things that aren't even dangerous. He causes more harm than help, making him slip, zapping him, and even launching bowling balls at his chest. Eventually, Mr. Robinson has had enough and tells Gumball to stop, and this time he actually listens. But when Darwin and Anais see how down Gumball is, they come up with a plan, stage a bunch of fake emergencies during Mr. Robinson's big performance. At the show, Mr. Robinson sings his heart out with his song I Wanna Be Free, which is actually kind of a banger.
I wanna sing, I wanna dance, I wanna touch the sky with my own two hands. If I sing to the world, it'll set me free, and let me be who I wanna be.
But somehow, bro is completely unaware what's happening around him. Right as he hits the final note, a light falls, but Gumball manages to push him out of the way just in time, only then to crush him by accidentally pulling a lever. This episode gives us a glimpse of Mr. Robinson in a more sympathetic light. While he's usually grumpy, he actually puts up with Gumball's chaos longer than expected. His wife, on the other hand, is a whole different story. Also, we get a quick reveal that Rocky, who we first saw in the pilot episode, is actually their son, who is the literal opposite of his parents. While his parents are pretty mean and strict, Rocky is easygoing, kind, and always there when Gumball and Darwin need a hand. Skipping forward a little bit, next we have the pressure. And in this episode, Gumball and Darwin find themselves dealing with exactly that, some serious pressure. In Molly's treehouse, Molly, Penny, Terry, Leslie, Carmen, Carrie, and Masami are all hanging out when the topic of boys comes up. Everybody, except Penny, claims to have boyfriends, with Masami claiming that Darwin is hers.
Do you have a boyfriend? Yeah, it's Darwin. Darwin?
The next day, she tries to prove it by getting Darwin to do boyfriend things, like carrying her books and spending time with her.
Hold my book, boyfriend. Okay.
Gumball tries to help, but he keeps getting distracted by his crush Penny. Eventually though, they both end up in the treehouse, ready to go through with the kiss. But out of nowhere, Tobias and Banana Joe, who have been against the girls this whole episode, cut the tree down.
Can you feel the universe moving around us?
Yeah. It's more like a swaying motion, actually.
When the tree falls, Gumball and Darwin accidentally kiss each other and walk off proud, thinking they just kissed a girl.
Wow! That was amazing! Kissing Penny was like being run over by a unicorn.
And kissing Masami wasn't as bad as I thought it would be.
While the spotlight's mostly on Darwin and Masami, the episode also nudges Gumball and Penny's relationship forward. Gumball is clearly dealing with some feelings for her, and in this season, he gets flustered and awkward whenever Penny's nearby.
That was dramatic.
Hey, Gumball. Wanna walk me to the canteen? Definitely.
It's one small step, but it shows that something's definitely building between them. Later on, we'll see the relationship really take shape, but it's these early, awkward moments that quietly set everything in motion. The next episode, The Laziest, dives into Richard's true talent, doing absolutely nothing. In The Laziest, Nicole tells Richard to do some chores before she gets back from work, but the second she's out the door, he kicks back on the couch and tricks Gumball and Darwin into doing his chores. But once they realize they've been tricked, they challenge Richard to a lazy off.
I'll tell you what, if you can find anyone lazier than me in this town, I'll do your chores for a whole day. And if you lose, you'll do mine for the rest of your life. How does that sound?
Sounds pretty good.
So Gumball and Darwin track down Lazy Larry, who used to hold the title of the laziest man in Elmore, before he, well, lost it to Richard. Larry insists that he's not that guy anymore, and is happy with his life now. However, Gumball and Darwin don't take that for an answer, and ruin everything. His job, his car, and his relationship. After all of this, he turns back into Lazy Larry. But when it's time for the lazy off, Larry is too lazy to show up, so the boys take on Richard Richard themselves and think they've won until Nicole appears and makes the boys do their chores, letting Richard relax. So in the end, Richard still wins. This episode shows that Richard is surprisingly clever when it comes to being lazy, which is a big step up from how hopeless he was earlier. It also gives us a closer look into his relationship with Nicole. Even though Richard can be clueless and lazy, Nicole doesn't just boss him around. She genuinely cares and holds the family together. Later on, episodes like The Choices reveal that their relationship shouldn't work, but somehow it does, proving there's a real love and connection beneath the surface, even if it's not always obvious. But now let's get forward to the kiss, and this is where we meet Granny JoJo. It all starts with Richard loading the car while Nicole tells the kids to behave for Granny JoJo's visit. And when Granny JoJo arrives, she puts on her lipstick and kisses Anais and Darwin on the cheek. But Gumball doesn't want to be kissed, so he turns his head at the last second and gets kissed right on the lips instead, leaving him completely speechless.
Come on, Gumball. Just get it over with.
Well, it's easy for you.
To help him get over it, Darwin tries some trauma therapy, putting Gumball through all kinds of gross stuff. But it's not until Gumball goes through Hector's toes that he finally forgets about the kiss. And just as he starts to feel better about it and is ready to let go, Granny JoJo kisses him again.
Granny JoJo! I found my happy place.
Yeah, whatever. Now give your Granny JoJo a kiss goodbye.
Of course.
Gumball, give me a hand with this bag.
Okay.
Between the awkward kiss and Nicole and Richard literally speeding away to avoid her, it's clear that she's gonna be a handful every time she shows up. After the awkward disaster in the kiss Gumball's been waiting for almost becomes a reality in the party. In this episode, Rachel, Tobias's older sister, is throwing a party. But there's only one rule. Everyone has to bring a date.
Fine, you can come.
Yes.
But you all have to bring a date. Uh-huh. Good luck.
Gumball is too nervous to ask Penny. Then a love note lands on his food, but he doesn't get what it means and just tosses it away. With no one else to ask, Anais eventually convinces him to take Tina. When he shows up, Penny is already with Hector. Gumball tries to talk to her, but she's clearly upset, and the party turns out to be a total snooze, until Miss Simeon crashes it and accidentally turns it into an actual party.
This party is busted! Busted wide open! Busted.
While dancing with their dates, Gumball and Penny finally meet again, and this is when Penny reveals that she's the one who sent the note earlier, making Gumball feel pretty dumb. After things settle down, Darwin gets a kiss on the cheek from Rachel for helping to clean the mess.
What do I need a girlfriend for?
This. Mwah.
Everything is so clear now.
But when it comes to Gumball's moment, Richard ruins it by non-stop honking.
I think your dad's here.
So in the end, only Darwin comes out on top. This episode, of course, grows Gumball's relationship with Penny, but we also meet a new character named Rob, who is completely irrelevant in this episode. But for that reason, he's gonna be important later. But let's skip ahead through some more relevant episodes and go to the episode The Date, where Gumball thinks he's finally landed a real date with Penny. Before he goes, Richard shows him how to find gifts at the dump, and becomes irresponsible with Nicole's credit card. Meanwhile, Anais gives him a lesson in etiquette, and Darwin trains him how to handle the unexpected, all just to prepare Gumball for this date.
You've got to be prepared for anything on this date because anything can happen.
Like what?
What if someone tries to mug you?
I don't know. Call the police?
Wrong. Knock his block off.
Like that?
That was good.
But when Gumball shows up, he quickly realizes this isn't a romantic date. It's a funeral for Penny's pet. Instead of showing sympathy, he makes rude jokes and treats the whole thing like a joke. When Penny's father offers a handshake, Gumball slaps it away, calling it a blot, already making a terrible first impression. He goes along with the funeral just to stay close to Penny, even giving a speech where he says the pet must have been as hot as its owner, which surprisingly, Penny finds sweet. But just as things start to go his way, Gumball ruins it all by screaming at a photo of a spider made by Penny's little sister. Gumball destroys it and upsets the entire family.
The spider! Knock his block off! That's awful! I hate spiders! Who would want something be in their house.
So Gumball makes an excuse to leave, but not before asking to use the bathroom. And this is where he discovers that Mr. Cuddles, the person, you know, who the funeral's about, is actually a spider and is actually alive in the toilet. So he manages to somehow save the day and finally earns a little bit of respect from Penny's family, just before passing out due to the spider venom.
Gumball, this is amazing!
Oh, yeah, it's great.
Son, I stand corrected. I thought you were a good-for-nothing young troublemaker, but no, you're...
Yeah, whatever. One question. Is that spider poisonous? Because it just bit me.
Yeah, but it's like a bee sting. You'd have to be bitten like 150 times for it to be dangerous.
Okay, thanks. If you'll excuse me, I'll go now. Bye.
This is Gumball's first impression on the Fitzgeralds, an important moment because he's moving from just being Penny's friend to actually dating her, which eventually helps Penny break out of her shell and leads to a lot of surprises like family drama down the line. And in the next episode, we get a real look at the kind of destruction that Gumball can cause to Elmore. In the microwave, Gumball and Darwin accidentally create Kenneth, a disgusting monster born from microwave garbage. At first, Gumball and Darwin take care of him like it's their pet, but he immediately starts eating people and growing, eating Anais, Richard, Nicole, the mailman, and a bunch of other random crap. So at that moment, Gumball and Darwin decide that they have to stop what they created, but the monster catches them off guard and swallows Darwin, which is when Gumball panics and accidentally turns on a hose that fills Kenneth with water until he explodes, freeing everyone inside.
Our lives depend on you! I hate to tell you this, but I got nothing.
Gumball pretends this was all a part of the plan, and convinces the family to now give Tiny Kenneth a second chance.
Look at him. He won't hurt anyone now.
Doesn't this poor creature deserve a second chance?
Okay.
Trust me, guys. This time, it'll be different.
This episode shows just how much destruction Gumball is actually capable of causing to Elmore, and things only escalate from here. Season 1 kicked off strong, pulling in 2.12 million US viewers with its premiere, and later earned a British Academy Children's Award for animation, proving this wasn't your average cartoon. And while we didn't cover every single episode, those are the ones that really push the story forward. But this only sets the stage for all the crazy stuff they do in Season 2, which premiered in the United States on August 7th, 2012, with the episode The Knights, where Gumball desperately tries to win the approval of Penny's overprotective father. After a not very good impression on the family, and accidentally damaging his car, Gumball tries to make up to him by offering gifts, and even vandalizing a billboard just for him.
Watterson and Fitzgerald Co-Friendship Unlimited? What the...
None of it works, and Patrick gets even more annoyed, especially when his car ends up wrecked again because of Gumball. While Gumball is trying to fix his relationship with Penny's dad, Tobias comes along and tries to get Penny to be her partner. This leads to a duel with Gumball, who doesn't want to participate in Tobias's game, but because Tobias doesn't want to back off, he starts fighting back. Penny tries to stop it, but gets pushed into the road and almost gets hit, until Gumball risks his life to save her from a car that was actually Penny's dad. After the crash, Patrick finally sees Gumball's genuine care for Penny and thanks him, but before a real moment can happen, Richard storms out in his underwear, and the scene devolves into the classic Watterson chaos, while Gumball and Penny just smile through it all.
Thank you so much, Gumball. You saved my little girl's life.
What is going on here? Nicole, get out here! This clown nearly ran over our kid!
What?
It's not what it looks like.
I don't want you near my family ever again.
Here, let me just pay.
I don't want your money! You come around here with...
This episode gives us a look at Gumball trying to win over Penny's dad, which actually becomes a bit throughout the whole show. We eventually see Penny start to push back against her dad's strict rules and take more control of her life.
Here we go! I'm gonna be myself!
It also kicks off the true rivalry between Gumball and Tobias. Tobias loves the spotlight and turns just about anything into a competition. So in these earlier seasons, he kind of becomes Gumball's main rival in a goofy, over-the-top way. Right after the whole Penny situation, things don't slow down. At home, the chaos picks up again in the fridge. Nicole reveals a chart on the fridge to track weekly achievements. Anais earns a science award, Darwin learns a mockingbird call, and Richard even invents something, putting him in the chart. However, Gumball has nothing to report and is placed alone in the rainy cloud tier. Determined to make Gumball a winner, Nicole throws him into some seriously extreme training. First, she wakes him up at 4 a.m. to fight an old lady for a discounted chicken at the supermarket.
Well, we'll see about that.
Still not impressed, Nicole takes things even further by dropping Gumball in a desert to, quote, teach him the meaning of success and make him walk all the way home.
The desert?
Yes? You're walking home.
No, don't you dare leave me! She'll be back.
When Gumball finally gets home, Richard tells him he's driven the whole family crazy, so the only way to settle it is a full-on family paintball war, and if Gumball wins, the chart will come down. One by one, everyone gets taken out until it's just Gumball and Nicole. He makes it to the flag, but Nicole shows up, only for a bird to knock her gun away. Then, they have a real moment where Nicole admits that she always believed in Gumball, and just wanted him to succeed. She tells him to grab the flag, but still tries to fire, only to realize that her gun's empty. They both laugh it off, and Gumball takes the win, meaning the chart is no more. This episode shows a moment with Gumball and Nicole, and how she just wants Gumball to be the best he can, something her parents did to her, which will be important later.
Hey, how about a joke? I like my coffee the way I like jokes about the way I like my coffee. I don't.
Not only that, but the animation in this episode is on another level. It's easy to miss at first, but the backgrounds, especially during those more intense moments, are packed with detail. The blend of real life with the show's style creates a wild atmosphere that takes everything to the next level. You can really see just how much they leveled up since season 1. The animation feels more polished, creative, and visually detailed. The next episode, The Job, Nicole wakes up from what she thinks is a nightmare, Richard becoming a pizza delivery guy. But it's not just a dream. He really got a job, and the shock from that is what made her faint.
Mom, wake up!
Mom, are you okay?
Oh, I had the weirdest dream. I was on the front lawn and your father had a job as a pizza delivery guy.
That wasn't a dream. That's what I just told you. And you fainted!
Richard explains how he landed the gig and proudly shares his, quote, genius hack for free pizza, eating the middle slices and hiding the evidence. He takes off on a scooter, but drops a few pizzas along the way, so Gumball and Darwin step in to help with deliveries. Meanwhile, Nicole starts to sense that something is very off, and she's absolutely right. Ever since Richard started working, strange things have been happening all over Elmore. Time and weather are changing, day turns into night in seconds, and people are literally glitching. So they go to Larry in order to get Richard fired, but it turns out he wasn't really needed, since as Richard was delivering his last pizza, the customer complains that the pizza is half eaten. This gives Larry a reason to fire him on the spot, and everything goes back to normal. If it wasn't already clear, this episode proves that Richard isn't built for having a job. He might be lazy, yeah, but even when he does try, reality literally falls apart. What's cool though is how the show uses that chaos to mix a bunch of different animation styles in one scene, turning the characters into Play-Doh, live action, pixels, and more. And it somehow works perfectly, because that's just how wild and creative the world of Gumball is. Skipping forward, in the episode Halloween, which is one of the 2 only episodes to not have "the" in the title, Gumball, Darwin, and Anais head out for trick-or-treating. But things take a turn when Gumball leads the group into a haunted house that hosts a party for the undead, thanks to their ghost friend Carrie. Anais isn't allowed in because of her costume, so Gumball ties her to a tree while he and Darwin sneak into the party, and they drink a ghost potion so that they can become ghosts. The first thing Darwin does in his ghost form is kissing Carrie.
Look what you've done! You've completely turned into ghosts! Which means I can finally do this!
And it turns out Darwin has quietly had a crush on her for a while, and this moment starts a relationship that develops really nicely as the series goes on. Afterwards, Gumball and Darwin go on to prank others around town. Anais escapes and finds the party, and ends up drinking one of the potions so that she can see what's going on. It's all fun and games until Carrie tells them if they don't return the bodies before midnight, they'll stay ghosts forever. As the clock strikes 12, the underworld opens and starts pulling them into the dead. Gumball and Darwin rush back, dodging the zombies' hands with Carrie's help, and at the end, they were able to get their bodies back. But just as things seem to be normal, they realize they're in the wrong bodies.
Words cannot describe how furious I am. It's gone midnight. What have you got to say for yourselves?
We went trick-or-treating and then we took a shortcut.
We went to a ghost party and it was supposed to be
I
fun.
didn't know what the potion was gonna do when I drank it.
This moment isn't just the start of Darwin and Carrie's relationship, it also gives us a surprisingly real moment from Gumball. He admits that he messed up by not being there for Anais, leaving her behind, where he should have been a protective big brother. Yeah, he brings it up at literally the worst time, but it shows he really does care. And in the next episode, The Treasure, we get to really understand why the Watersons are poor. It starts off with the kids messing with sleeping Richard, until Nicole comes home with fancy groceries. She says she grabbed the wrong bags by accident, which makes the kids wonder why they always get the cheapest stuff.
How come we can't get this good stuff all the time?
Look, we'd be able to afford the good stuff if it wasn't for...
Nicole almost explains it to them, but cuts herself off and leaves, which makes things suspicious. After a creepy phone call telling them not to dig deeper, they search in the attic, and after mocking each other's baby photos, they find old bank statements and a key. Turns out they used to have money, but $24,000 vanished into something called a stellar court.
Look, back here we used to have loads of money. And then it all went in one big payment to Stellar Corporation.
Then Gumball remembers the key, so Darwin and Anais hypnotize him and uncover a memory of Nicole hiding a suitcase under her wardrobe. So Gumball sneaks into their parents' room, survives getting flattened by Richard, and grabs the suitcase. Inside it are a shovel and a receipt with the treasure map on the back. The kids then set off on a chaotic treasure hunt, chased by a mysterious figure trying to stop them. They reach the spot, dig up a box, and then Richard shows up, begging them not to open it. They do it anyway and find another piece of paper. That is when Richard finally admits that they lost their savings to an online scam. He bought a star from their descendants 10 generations from now.
I was left at home alone. It was the beginning of the internet. Click now for an out-of-this-world property investment for the future of your kids. Yes! I clicked too quick. I should have waited for the page to finish loading. Property investment for the future of your kids. Great grandchildren's children.
Nicole appears and admits that she knew about this all along, and they all share a touching moment, looking at the star they say Richard bought until it burns out. In this episode, it's clear that Richard's heart was in the right place. He thought he was making a smart investment for his family's future, even if it was 10 generations too early. While the treasure hunt ends in disappointment, the journey brings Gumball, Darwin, and Anais closer together. Their constant teasing and bickering never outweigh their loyalty, and through all the chaos, they stick together. In the end, they don't find riches and share a rare moment as a family under their own briefly glowing star. And then we get our first Christmas special, simply titled Christmas. While driving through Elmore on Christmas Eve, the Watersons accidentally run over a man in a Santa hat.
When the air is fizzy full of Christmas cheer, only one more sleep until Santa's here.
Merry Christmas, everybody!
The kids freak out, thinking they just killed the real Santa and ruined Christmas. Richard panics about being on the naughty list and takes him to the hospital. This man has no ID or memory, so the doctor says whoever hit him has to take him home. Nicole does not want to do that, but the kids, thinking he's the real Santa, convinces her. But after taking him to the mall and having the kids hang out with him for a while, Nicole breaks and drops a bomb and tells them that Santa isn't real.
Let me tell you something about Santa Claus. <gasps> 'There is no Santa Claus.
I think all the innocence just left my body.
She shares a sad story about how as a kid, she wrote to him every year just asking for one thing, but it never came, and eventually she stopped believing. But when she turns around, the kids and Walmart Santa are gone. She runs outside and tries to find them, but it's too late. The kids are heartbroken and Christmas is canceled. Meanwhile, Richard finds a sleigh and a reindeer and tries to save Christmas himself. Just as the kids are saying goodbye to the man, a flying present knocks him out, and boom, he remembers he actually is Santa. They race to land the sleigh, Anais builds a Christmas light runway, and Nicole saves the day by plugging it all in. Santa lands safely and reveals that Nicole's childhood letters were sent to the South Pole, and gives her the gift she's always wanted.
Ho, ho, ho! Now, where's that present for Nicole? Aha! This is long overdue.
Really?
Well, what is it?
The most beautiful gift I could ever wish for.
It's just like us.
Yeah, close enough.
And just like that, Christmas is saved. The Christmas special gives us a little glimpse into Nicole's past and how she had lost her Christmas spirit. This episode really brought the Watterson family together. But speaking of family, in The Authority, Granny JoJo's overprotectiveness puts the Wattersons in danger of losing their brains. In this episode, Richard tries to watch the TV, but ends up, quote, fixing it by chucking batteries at the screen. He knocks himself out in the process and ends up in the hospital. That's when Granny JoJo barges in and blames Nicole for not keeping things under control. And that's when she decides she's moving in to take charge. Once home, she goes full overprotective grandma mode. She chases Gumball with a car to show how unsafe the world is. Fake loses her arm to scare Darwin away from knives, and slams a window so hard it explodes to prove a point to Anais. Richard, meanwhile, is too terrified to even open the shed. Eventually, the whole family becomes so safety obsessed that they refuse to do anything risky at all. They gain weight and basically turn into mini Richards. When Nicole returns home, she is horrified. Granny JoJo's overprotective parenting made everyone just as hopeless as Richard. And this is where she realizes what happened to Richard when he was growing up. And that's the reason why he is the way he is today. To get them to snap out of it, she sends the family out to buy milk, but their lack of common sense quickly turns into disaster as they drive straight into traffic with no idea of how to stop a car. Nicole urges them to remember everything they learned, and eventually, Richard manages to slam the brakes just inches in front of her. Everyone passes out from the chaos, but not before Granny JoJo admits she was wrong. Nicole explains to her it's okay to mess up sometimes, as long as you learn from it. From The Authority, we learn that Granny JoJo's overprotectiveness is a big reason why Richard is the way he is. Clueless, lazy, and morbidly obese. Her way of parenting keeps people safe from the surface, but deep down, she takes everyone down a deep path that they can't escape from. Skipping forward a bit, in The Hero, Gumball and Darwin are hanging out at school when the other kids start bringing up how cool their dads are. When asked about Richard, the only things they can come up with are sweating without moving and gaining weight.
What's your dad good at?
Is sweating without moving a skill?
How about putting on weight? He's awesome at that.
He must be good at something.
The kids laugh, and Richard, who overhears it, is crushed. They say he's only good at embarrassing them, and he can't even cook. Richard leaves heartbroken and goes to hide in the shed.
Dad overheard what you said in the playground.
Oh, that! And he's been hiding in the shed ever since.
Well, at least you can't embarrass us in there.
At home, Nicole warns the boys that unless they apologize, they would have to survive on their own. They accept their challenge, but after learning how hard it is to survive with no showers and no food, they try to apologize. But when Richard accidentally nails himself to a plank, Gumball laughs so hard and can't go through with it. But then we get a sad moment where Richard sings a heartfelt song about being their hero when he was little.
I remember when you were still little, my little ones. I was the giant who picked you up when you fell down.
Wanting to cheer Richard up, Gumball comes up with a risky plan to make him feel like a hero again. Gumball and Darwin climb into a junkyard car and set to be crushed, while Darwin holds a remote to stop things if it gets too dangerous. But immediately, things go wrong when the magnet snatches the remote, forcing them to count on Richard, who keeps messing up the controls and almost makes things worse. He eventually climbs using the magnet to collect scrap, but the cable gives out under the weight. Darwin and Richard make it out safely, but Gumball is still stuck. Richard and encourages him, just like Gumball did when he was learning to walk, and they all share a tearful hug and make peace.
Gumball, you have to get up!
I can't!
Come on, son! You can do it!
I'm coming down! Don't let me down!
I won't!
Richard has always come off as a dumb, lazy rabbit and an all-around terrible dad. But as we see through moments like this, and later on in his own family struggles, he was really just trying to be the father he never had. Gumball, on the other hand, spent most of the episode being harsh and ungrateful, never seeing that effort. But after a near-death experience, something finally clicks. Gumball and Darwin both come to understand how Richard truly cares, and for once, Richard feels like a hero, and the boys really start to appreciate the dad that they've got. Next, in the sweaters, Gumball and Darwin are called to Principal Brown's office, and assuming they're in trouble, Gumball launches into a dramatic rant about the systemic injustice, only to find out they're supposed to show the new student, Sarah, around the school.
Think about this. Video games, rap music, television, the internet, advertising making us want stuff that your generation shoves down our throats so you can get even richer. Who's the real victim here? And while you're at it, think about this.
I called you in because I thought you wouldn't mind showing Sarah around the school.
Sarah is excited to be at Elmore, thinking it's a hardcore school, which makes Gumball and Darwin feel cool, until Darwin admits they're actually not tough at all. Then Gumball also comes clean, saying that some meth head will hear them say that they're hardcore and will kick their butts. But it's too late. Carlton and Troy, kids from Richmond High, already heard, and they want to fight based on the rumors that Gumball and Darwin think they're hardcore, just like Gumball predicted.
So you think you're hardcore, huh?
So are you talking to us?
What do you think?
I don't know, man. There's people everywhere here.
If you're so hardcore...
We just said we weren't.
Then what are you gonna do about this face ache?
Absolutely nothing, dude.
Sounds to me like you want to fight, Dweebazoid.
Okay, I don't know what kind of movie you're living in, but I don't want to be in it.
That's right. Walk away before it gets ugly.
They walk away, but after the chaos caused by Sarah's exaggerations, the boys learn that if Gumball doesn't show up to fight, Elmore might be bulldozed for a golf course. With a little help from adults and some encouragement from Penny, Gumball accepts their fight. The fight, however, turns out to be a tennis match, but Richmond High plays aggressively, and their teacher, Mr. Crease, who looks very much like Omni-Man, is convinced that Gumball's silence is a part of their master plan. And after Gumball gets hit by a ball, he comes back injured but determined. Impressing the Richmond crew, despite losing, Carlton gives them a sweater as a sign of respect.
Maybe you didn't win this match, but you showed your courage. And for this, I give you not a trophy, but something much more important.
I give you my respect.
This episode brings the first real human characters into the show, Carlton, Troy, and Mr. Crease, which is a big step in expanding Elmore's world beyond just silly characters. And it would also fit at the same time Sarah had a main role in an episode, introducing her as a big fan of Gumball and Darwin, and eventually that's gonna become problematic in later episodes. Finally, we're on to the final episode of season 2, the finale. In this episode, the Wattersons discover that their past actions have consequences, and this episode is an all-out chaos fest, where every bad decision the Wattersons have made finally comes back to bite them. It kicks off with Miss Yodathumb, Hector's mother, who's demanding $800,000 in damages for her son's rampage in a previous episode, followed by Principal Brown forcing Gumball and Darwin to repeat kindergarten, and Richard can go to jail for unpaid fines. They then discover that they must pay the bill worth $800,000 tomorrow, or they're gonna lose their house. So they split up. Richard, Gumball, and Darwin try to make money fast with ridiculous schemes, stealing a bus and scamming parents, while Nicole and Anais attempt legal solutions, only to find out people like Larry now have restraining orders against them. Eventually, they all end up in jail, and the Wattersons are done for. However, after a motivational speech from Gumball, they break out of jail to go to Anais with even more problems. Hoping the episode fixes itself, the Wattersons go through the town, creating as much chaos as they physically can. With no way out, Nicole admits defeat and Gumball agrees, saying that the only thing that could possibly save them is reality being completely reset by some kind of magic device.
Think of something! I can't hold him
Season 3 starts with the episode The Kids, where Richard asks Gumball and Darwin if he looks old. Their awkward response rightfully offends him, and Nicole gets upset too when they joke about her age. The boys conclude that they must stay young forever, until their voices start suddenly cracking and dropping in pitch.
No one stays young forever, you know. You'll see how it feels when it happens to you.
I think you'll be fine.
Yeah, dude, I've been 12 for like forever now.
I think we can safely say that we'll be young forever and never change.
Dude, are you...
Gumball tries calling Penny, but her dad thinks it's a prank caller and threatens him. At the bus stop, their voices deepen and they get mistaken for adults trying to avoid paying a ticket, and they get kicked off. When they go to the mall, Darwin scares Larry with unintentional sarcasm, and both of the boys are nearly tased by a security guard due to their unstable voices. They continue to face their problems, so they go to the hospital, where the doctor explains they're just hitting puberty, and most people eventually grow up.
And sometimes it's perfectly fine, but the next thing you know, it's all over the place!
Are you making fun of us because our voices are broke?
Your voice is not broken. They're breaking. It means you're growing up. Did you really think you would stay kids forever?
They leave the hospital and make the most of it by singing a song while doing classic kid things. As they sing, the animation changes back and forth to more colorful and energetic animation. It feels like you're seeing the world through the kids' eyes, full of imagination and chaos. It matches the song perfectly and adds to the whole make the most of it message. However, as they continue rapping, their voices get extremely deep, until a boy and his mother assume that Gumball and Darwin are short men pretending to be kids. That hits hard. The world fades to grayscale, and they start to grieve the end of their youth. But just as they begin to accept growing up, their voices unexpectedly shift back, sounding even younger. Darwin realizes their aging stopped forever, but that happiness quickly disappears as they realize they'll actually never age. Moving forward, Logan Grove, who had voiced Gumball since the beginning, is replaced by Jacob Hopkins in this episode, which is the whole reason why they made this. And Darwin's original voice actor, Kwesi Bache, was handed over to Terrell Ransom Jr. Even with the new voices, Gumball and Darwin still feel like the same characters.
Dude, what's going on? I sound even younger than before.
That's it. That means we're in the 1% of people who never grow old.
It's one of those behind-the-scenes challenges that makes you appreciate Gumball more. Next, in The Joy, a contagious joy virus infects the whole school. It all starts when Richard gives Gumball and Darwin his signature wonder hug.
Do you want a hug?
There's no point. Everything on Monday is crummy.
What about a wonder hug?
What's that?
It's filled with all the love and happiness in the world.
That sounds crummy too.
Wonder hug!
The boys are suddenly hyper cheerful. They're coughing up rainbows, singing auto-tune songs, and basically spreading joy like it's a virus. Miss Simeon, who absolutely thrives on student misery, is horrified. She immediately declares that there's an outbreak of the joy and tries to quarantine it like it's some kind of zombie apocalypse. But of course, Gumball and Darwin escape and start wonder hugging everyone in the school, making the whole place overrun with happy zombies.
It's spreading! It really works!
Later on, Miss Simeon is the only one standing, and she realizes the only way to cure this outbreak is to bring back the sadness. So she sneaks into her office and tries to put on a cassette of depressing music, and it actually works for a little bit. The sad vibes snap Principal Brown out of his joy trance. She tries to make her way through the school, going to the main office to make an announcement with the music, and she tries to pretend to be happy to avoid detection. But after she sees Banana Joe half naked, she screams at him, blowing his cover. So she makes a run for it and accidentally bumps into Tobias, who isn't infected because he's blending in because he's rainbow. But after she makes her way to the office and is about to play the tape, Gumball and Darwin come out of the shadows and infect her too. It ends with her fully giving in, filming her final moments as she dramatically says the story has come to a happy ending.
I'm sorry. I've let you down. The story came to a happy ending.
This is one of, if not the scariest episode in the entirety of Gumball. But this next episode changes everything, as it uncovers a dark secret hiding beneath Elmore that flips the whole world of Elmore on its head. In the void, Gumball and Darwin start noticing weird glitches around Elmore, like floating stop signs, broken sidewalks, and a missing classmate that no one seems to remember, Molly Collins. But Gumball and Darwin aren't the only ones who notice things being missing. Mr. Small is also aware that things have gone missing around Elmore, and the love of his life is literally just gone. He can't find her. So the three go to investigate further, and accidentally come across the void. Inside the void is a bunch of creepy glitches like you'd expect, and inside they see every mistake the world has made, such as jorts, laserdisc, and the mullet. You can even find Darwin's old model in the background inside the void. Either it's an Easter egg or having deeper meaning that Darwin's old design was meant to be forgotten. Even Rob, the guy who Gumball and Darwin threw in a hole, was there, but their decision not to help him would lead to a lot of problems later. Eventually, they find Molly in a treehouse and meet up with Mr. Small, who finds the love of his life, Janice, which turns out to be a van, and they barely make it out just as the portal closes. But before they can tell anyone about it though, the void sucks in their tinfoil hats and their memories. Except we, the viewers, still remember. And now we all know there's a void lurking beneath Elmore, quietly erasing all the forgotten characters and items the world wants to ignore. In the shell, Gumball and Penny are playing out the final scene of their school play, Beauty and the Beast, when things take an unexpected turn. Penny improvises a kiss at the end, throwing Gumball into panic. He rushes too fast and ends up headbutting her, leaving a crack on Penny's shell. Something strange glimmers beneath, and she quickly hides it. Darwin tries to help patch it, but it's clear they can't hide it from her dad forever. On the walk to Penny's house, she opens up a bit. What's under her shell is her real self, and her dad would go nuts if he found out, which he does, and plans to move her to another school. But Gumball tells her to break free from the shell and be herself, so she does, and she finally becomes free.
Be yourself. Come out of your shell.
But maybe you wouldn't like the real me.
There's no way that could be true. Whatever is inside, we can deal with it together.
Together?
Together.
You're right. You're right. I'm gonna do it.
That's it. Break free, Penny.
Okay, here we go. I'm gonna be myself.
Her true form is glowing and magical with wings. Gumball is too stunned to get his words out, and she takes his silence as rejection, and she starts shape-shifting into all kinds of different forms, each one reflecting how she feels. The rest of the episode becomes this chaotic, emotional chase through Elmore. Gumball's doing everything he can to reach her. Their chase finally ends in the forest, where Penny is still in her wolf form. She stops and asks if he can like her the way she is, and of course, Gumball doesn't hesitate and tells her it's not about the way she looks. It's about who she is and how she feels.
What will you think when people laugh at us?
No offense, but you kinda look like a big coconut with holes in it before.
But do you really think you could love?
That's not what you are. It's just how you feel. And this is how I feel.
That moment snaps everything back into place, and Penny transforms back into her true form. They float down to the ground together, and both families show up, realizing they've been watching a real-life school play this whole time. This episode marks the beginning of a new chapter in Gumball and Penny's relationship, as the two slowly grow closer and begin to move beyond just being friends. It also carries an important message about not hiding, whether it's our emotions, our true selves, or parts of us that we're afraid others won't understand. Penny is literally breaking out of her shell, and she becomes a powerful symbol of how honesty and vulnerability can lead to deeper connections. This is a big turning point in the show, and from this episode forward, she never goes back in her shell. Next, in the episode The Man, the focus shifts away from Gumball onto Richard, and his side of the family for once. It all starts at Granny JoJo's birthday party, and she blows out what has to be a fire hazard's worth of candles on one big dramatic puff. Then Richard follows it with a painfully long, elphanabized toast dedicated to her.
I think it's time for a toast. Thank you. And now for your birthday surprise. The alphabet of my mom. A is for amazing, because that's what you are. B is for breakfast, one of my 12 favorite mealtimes. And because you're amazing, Mom.
But something's off. Granny JoJo's acting too nice. Like, actually nice. Then, after Richard finishes his toast, Granny JoJo reveals that she has a new boyfriend named Louie.
Surprise!
Sorry, sir. We already got a surprise here. We don't need any more.
Nice to meet you, sir. This is Louie. He's my boyfriend.
Richard takes a look at him and immediately decides he doesn't like him. Not because Louie's a bad guy or anything, but because Richard starts thinking about his own dad, who actually left him when he was little. In his mind, Louie shows up feeling like his mom is replacing his dad he's never really had. He still thinks he went to get the milk and never came back.
What is Father gonna say when he comes back?
Father?
Yeah! You said he left to buy some milk 42 years ago. He could be back any minute.
But as we see later, this has nothing to do with his father. Or not entirely. Later that night, Granny JoJo's trying to sneak out for a secret date. Darwin and Anais help her get ready. When JoJo starts talking about love, Gumball gets up and just agrees to help her, so she stops. And the three of them pull an over-the-top plan to help her sneak out of the house, which ends with Granny JoJo being launched straight into the ceiling.
Alright, so the plan is we knock over the DVD switch, sets off the mouse trap, which sends the golf ball up there, which sets off the domino switch, sets off the toy car, which will switch on the fan, which will send the turtle to the rope, which she bites through dropping the desk, propelling Granny JoJo through the window, and she uses her bloomers to land safely in Louie's arm. Everybody ready?
While the chaos is happening upstairs, Nicole and Richard are having a quiet moment. They bring up how they used to sneak out of the house when they were young too, which makes Richard realize he might be overreacting, and he agrees to give Louie a chance, or at least talk to him. When Louie shows up to the front door, kids let him in, but Richard steps in, and then, of course, things escalate into a man-off, from growing facial hair, man-washing, cooking, and a bunch of other ridiculous challenges. But the final round is different. They have to open up emotionally. Richard refuses, and he insists there's nothing to talk about, but JoJo gently asks him if he's ready to admit the truth, that his dad is never coming back.
Oh, Richard, what about your dad? I thought you understood he didn't really go to get milk. Come on, just let it all out.
That hits him hard, and he breaks down, saying that his mom would probably love Louie more and also leave him, meaning it was more than just his father leaving. He didn't want to lose his mother as well, but JoJo reassured him, and Richard accepts Louie. This episode deepens Richard's backstory, showing the pain of his father's absence and struggling to accept the change. He's afraid of losing his mom the same way he lost his dad, but after finally opening up, he realizes Louie isn't replacing him. He's just making Granny JoJo happy. It's a small, honest step forward for a character who rarely grows. But moving on, in the episode The Bros, Gumball and Penny's relationship starts to come between Gumball and Darwin, putting their friendship and even their bond as brothers to test. It all begins on the school bus, where Gumball gets all dreamy-eyed over Penny and makes silly faces at her when she leaves. Darwin, clearly uncomfortable, starts to realize that Penny's taking up more of Gumball's attention, so Darwin decides to win back his place as Gumball's closest friend and brother. He spies on Penny, tries to gather dirt on her, and even straight up wrecks Gumball's school project during a cafeteria date. His jealousy hits a low point in the gym, where he repeatedly pelts Penny with a basketball, ruining Gumball's romantic moment and pushing everyone to their limit. This would leave Gumball mad and kick Darwin off the basketball team. At the library, Penny confronts Gumball. She knows he cares about her, but she also sees how important Darwin is to him. She gently suggests that before the relationship can move forward, he needs to fix things with his brother. Back at home, Gumball finds Darwin dressed in a hilariously bad Penny costume. Darwin's interference almost ruined everything. Gumball had actually been planning to propose to Penny, but the two make up and Darwin offers to help Gumball make the proposal perfect, to which Penny responds by turning him down, saying they're too young, so they turn this moment into a sweet bro wedding with Darwin instead. instead. Not only do we get to see more of Gumball and Penny's relationship after the events of the shell, watching their romance slowly evolve, we also begin to see how the shift affects Gumball and Darwin's dynamic, as Gumball spends more time with Penny, and Darwin begins to feel like he's pushed aside. And that stirs up feelings of jealousy and insecurity. But even as their bond is tested, it's clear that their relationship will never fall, even for some girl. Well, The Bros is about Gumball and Darwin's relationship. The friend only focuses on Anais, and it starts with her throwing a party in the backyard. Except there's no one there. The only guests are balloons with faces. It's supposed to be for laughs at first, but there's something off. Gumball and Darwin realize the truth. Anais doesn't have any friends. Feeling guilty and a bit shocked, they try to suggest that she should imagine a friend, hoping it'll lift their spirits. And after wishing for one and imagining it, what should have just been a dumb imaginary friend actually comes to life, and he's real in their backyard. Anais is stunned, but also thrilled. And this guy's name is Chimera, and despite his looks, he turns out to be incredibly playful and kind. And for the first time, Anais actually starts to get a friend. But then things start to get a little out of hand. Nicole and Richard catch a news report about a strange creature spotted around town, supposedly breaking into people's homes. When they recognize Chimera on screen, they totally freak out, and not long after, Donut Cop and the sheriff show up at the house, ready to take down what they think is some dangerous monster. And that's when Chimera finally opens up. He tells them he's not just imagined by Anais, he was actually created a long time ago by a lonely old toy maker. After the toy maker had passed, Chimera was left on his own, wandering the world looking for someone to connect with. He's not dangerous, he's just really lonely. So they try to protect him from the cops, and even make an entire Home Alone-like setup, with slippery floors, swinging paint cans, tripwires, and everything. But the cops end up pushing through the defenses, and with no other way to get out, Chimera threatens to blow himself up with a Coke and Mentos bomb. But before anyone can stop it, a cop set it off by accident, and just like that, he's gone. Later that night, Anais sits in her room quietly. She lost her first friend, one who she thought she made in her imagination. But then she hears a sound. Slowly, piece by piece, Chimera puts himself back together, and he gently thanks her for being his friend. He says it's not goodbye forever, just for now. He promises to visit when he can, and then fades into the night. This episode focuses on Anais for once. Instead of being the usual brains of the episode, we get to see her as a real kid, lonely and wanting friends. But now, we gotta talk about the episode The Nobody. As they search their house, Gumball rambles about how secret doors are always hidden in the most unexpected places. Darwin thinks his idea is stupid until he happens to fall back into a hidden room, which just so happens to be the basement. In it, they find the culprit. Before they can ask him anything, he makes a run for it, so Gumball and Darwin chase him to the mall, causing complete chaos while trying to get him to stop. And he just gives up and explains that he's been living under their house because the Watersons were the only ones clueless enough not to notice.
Yeah, I meant why were you hiding in our house specifically?
'Cause you're the only people in this town thick enough not to notice. You guys had a whole room you didn't even know about.
Oh, you know what else is thick? Your mom's.
But he doesn't explain who he is. He just calls himself a nobody. Gumball and Darwin jokingly suggest he should become a villain. And that's when it all clicks. In a flashback, we see he's actually Rob. Yes, that Rob. He was in the void trying to get their attention, but they were too focused on saving Molly to even notice him. He barely escaped sneaking onto the back of the van, but was left disfigured and basically a nobody. Now, it's all coming back to him, and Rob declares himself their nemesis. Gumball and Darwin just kind of nod, actually proud that they gave him a purpose, and just walk away like it's another Tuesday. And this is when the Gumball and Rob arc really kicks off. Up until now, it had just been brewing in the background, not knowing his name or who he is. But after being forgotten and basically left in the void to rot, Rob finally remembers who he is, and he's done being ignored. He vows his revenge and promises to make Gumball feel exactly like he did, a nobody. And while Rob is lurking in the shadows, plotting his next big move, Gumball is dealing with something totally different in the Oracle. It all starts when the kids visit Banana Joe's family garage sale. While they're trying to buy some items, Banana Joe makes Gumball mad after he wants half a penny, and then $50, and picks up a painting with him in it, just for it to be exactly like the scene they're in at that moment. They look through the rest of the paintings, each one being from famous moments in previous episodes. Except for one. This painting shows Gumball completely naked in the middle of a mall, surrounded by multiple other characters. From there, the whole episode, Gumball is determined to stop this embarrassing future from coming true. So he tries everything. He first refuses to go anywhere near the mall, but Nicole forces him. So he tries everything from having layers of clothes, tampering with the car, and even trying to close the mall. But no matter what he does, every decision only brings him closer to that exact scenario in the painting. By the end, he's stranded in the middle of the mall, almost naked, with everyone who is shown in the painting surrounding him. The painting was spot on, but back home, as he's processing what happened, Anais asks the question, would any of this have happened if he hadn't seen the painting in the first place? Did that actually change the future, or did it cause it? At the end, Banana Joe's mom, Barbara Banana, quietly finishes one last painting, but this one is different. Instead of being humiliating, it shows the Watersons trapped inside of the void, and just like that, it ends on a creepy note. Season 3's been dropping some weird hints that Elmore might not be as normal as it seems. I mean, it's not normal at all, but this time, it's showing that there's a lot of stuff in Elmore that's just not explained yet. Between Barbara Banana's creepy visualizations of the void, it seems like something bigger is happening under the surface. We don't get a full explanation or clue on even what's going on till later. Until then, though, we jump into the episode The Money, and suddenly, the big threat isn't the end of reality. It's the Watersons going broke. The Watersons were about to pay for their meal at the Joyful Burger when Nicole's credit card gets declined. Turns out, they're broke, and that Richard, quote, invested their money offshore. But really, he turned it into gold and chucked it into the ocean. Nicole almost hulks out in rage, but Richard's clueless charm somehow calms her down. With no money and no options, they all start sobbing, and Nicole tells them to drink their tears because it's all they can afford now. Then Larry offers them a job, starring in a Joyful Burger commercial. Joyful Burger is looking for a new family to star in their next commercial, and he thinks the Watersons are perfect. It's easy money, and all they have to do is smile and eat the food on camera. But Gumball is not having it. He refuses to let his family sell out because things got hard. He gives them this big, dramatic speech about pride, dignity, and staying true to yourself.
We're not gonna let ourselves be reduced to some cliches for a quick corporate buck. We're the Watersons, and we don't sell out.
What's that?
I symbolically burned it because I'm not allowed to use a real lighter. Wait, are you guys already convinced? I haven't even done my rant about how the little fish got together.
Surprisingly, it works, and they decline the offer. That night, reality hits hard though, with no food, power, or no clue what to do next. By the morning, the repo men have taken everything, including their furniture, car, and even the grass on their lawn. Gumball tries to lift their spirits with a song about imagination, but the family is over it. Their patience snaps, and they turn on him for costing them everything. Still clinging onto his pride, Gumball claims they don't need money. But then, the animation itself starts falling apart. Anais's mouth glitches, Darwin looks crudely drawn, and Gumball literally loses his color. Even the backgrounds start collapsing into storyboards and sticky notes.
When you don't have money, your whole world falls apart!
Realizing the show's animation is falling apart because they're broke, Nicole decides that sticking to their morals just isn't worth Elmore glitching out. So they make a dash to sign the Joyful Burger contract as everything starts breaking down around them. Once they finally sign it, everything goes back to normal, except for Gumball, who's still clinging onto his pride. But then Larry shows him the paycheck, and instantly the Watersons are fully animated again, rocking ridiculous 80s outfits and becoming cheesy in a Joyful Burger commercial. They sold out, but hey, at least they look good doing it.
Finally a place I can call home. Thank you, Joyful Burger.
Once again, Gumball's pride almost wrecks everything. Elmore, reality, and maybe the entire universe. He's totally against selling out. But when your world starts falling apart, sometimes you have to sacrifice your pride and accept just making an ad. Speaking of ads, this video is sponsored by you. Yeah, like and subscribe, because that's how you can support the channel without paying me a dime. But seriously, subscribe though, that was a threat. But this episode also showcases the behind the scenes of a Gumball episode. From their original design to storyboard, it gives us a look at the animation of Gumball, and how they can actually mix 2D and 3D. That's a wrap on Season 3. By now, the amazing world of Gumball had really started gaining momentum, and Season 3 proved it was still evolving in all the best ways. This season took more creative risks than ever, blending absurd comedy with surprisingly heartfelt stories. The jokes got quicker, the animation got more ambitious, and the character development got deeper. Episodes like The Kids, The Nobody, and The Shell really made us think, and sometimes even felt a little emotional. After Season 3, Gumball would return on July 7, 2015, with the episode The Return. I know, what a fitting name. It begins on the school bus, filled with students excited for their first day back at school, except something feels off. After a few wrong guesses of where they're going, and Tobias getting roasted for his hat, they realize Gumball and Darwin aren't on the bus, and neither is Anais. Though, I guess they forgot about her.
There is something missing. It feels too nice.
Yeah, I've been wearing my new fresh hat for a whole 20 minutes and no one's made fun of it once.
Let me rectify that for you. I could see why you kept the label on.
I'd want a refund too.
First degree burn at best. Won't even leave a scar. Gumball would have come up with something way better.
Yeah, I can see that.
We're Gumball and Darwin!
At the Watterson house, Richard is in a dream, trying to wake the kids up, but when he wakes up, he realizes the dream is real. He overslept and the kids never made it to school. He rushes to their room only to find school supplies in their bed.
It's 7:30. You're gonna be late for your first day back. Mom left me in charge, and if I don't get you to school on time, she'll destroy me. Destroy you. Us. Me. You. Ah! Oh, it was a dream. It's not really 7:30. It's 8:30. Ah, you're late. Ah! Oh no, the kids have turned into school supplies.
In a panic, he jumps out of the window just to make sure it's not still a dream and calls Principal Brown, lying that the kids are homesick with the bubonic plague.
Hello, this is my wife speaking.
Whose wife?
Richard?
Mr. Watterson, what is it this time?
I'm just calling to say the kids won't be in this morning. They've got, fat heads.
Doesn't sound that bad. Send them in.
That was just the start of it. They've also got a cough, their skin is falling off, and they've got black lumps all over their arms.
That sounds like the bubonic plague.
Next, Nicole calls home from work to make sure she dropped the kids off. He pretends everything is fine, but quickly tries to retrace his steps to find out where he left them. After some confusion with Barbara Banana's car, he finally remembers he left them at a mall ball pit, but the ball pit was removed and was shipped overseas because it was sucking kids in. So Richard races to the harbor, jumping trucks and crashing through highways in full dad mode. He finds the crate containing the ball pit and tries to crack it open. Time is running out, so he steals a truck, hauls the container through town, literally smashing through buildings, just to get the kids to school on time. Finally, at Elmore Junior High, the crate busts open, launching hundreds of plastic balls. But thankfully, the kids go flying through the hallway. They land right outside just as Nicole pulls up. Oblivious to the chaos, she asks how their first day to school was, but they don't answer back due to all they went through.
Hi, kids. How was your first day back?
This episode gives us a rare look at Richard actually stepping up and being a parent. He's usually portrayed more as a fourth child. While Richard clearly struggles and gets things out of control, it shows that he genuinely cares and tries for his kids. While this gives Richard a rare moment in the spotlight, in The Nemesis, we switch back to the duo, Gumball and Darwin with a familiar foe. Gumball and Darwin are walking around the neighborhood, talking about how Rob, in spite of previously declaring him as their sworn enemies, has failed to follow up on his threats. While this is happening, however, they don't notice Rob's attempts to annihilate them. Rob breaks and just confronts both of them, saying that he's given up on trying to get revenge. Unfortunately for Rob, Gumball and Darwin refuse to let him give up, proceeding to follow him around throughout the day. After hitching a ride on a bus and tagging along at the grocery store, Gumball decides what he needs is a villainous name, chasing him and Darwin to bombard Rob with ideas. Rob becomes so irritated that he snaps and destroys his groceries, though it wasn't wasn't in bad intent, and Gumball finally proposes the perfect new name for Rob, Dr. Wrecker.
Dr. Wrecker!
I like it.
Gumball and Darwin decide to take Rob home to work on his voice, eventually modifying it to sound deep and British. Next, they assemble an outfit for him, which he reluctantly accepts. The two shell up with pride as they watch him practice his evil laugh and decide to throw him a celebration, announcing their intent to join him as his minions. Rob takes the whole thing the wrong way, gets all dramatic about it, and then disappears. Later that night, he shows up out of nowhere with a wild plan to blow up Elmore Dam and drown the town in the process. Gumball and Darwin tag along, but totally unprepared. At the end of the dam, they're frantically yanking wires and pressing buttons, trying to stop the disaster with barely any time to spare. It's pure chaos, and things aren't looking good. But instead of the dam busting as expected, a soda can flies out and hits Gumball in the head. Gumball investigates to only find that the wires were actually connected to a vending machine, let alone the fact that there wasn't actually an Elmore Dam in the first place. It was actually the Elmore Auto Damage Repair Center.
Does Elmore even have a dam?
No.
On their way home, the three are dragging their feet, and Rob is clearly feeling down after his plan flopped. But just then, Gumball and Darwin notice one of Rob's old traps still rigged up nearby, so they purposely walk into it and get snagged, making Rob burst out laughing, making him feel like a villain again, and he leaves, leaving the two hanging upside down as they beg for their help. Here, we get to see Rob actually taking on the role as a villain that Gumball and Darwin gave him. He's not exactly great at it, but instead of ignoring him like before, they actually help him out, giving him a proper villain name and even playing along with his evil schemes. It's clear they don't realize him as an actual bad guy, just as someone who needs more of a part to play in Elmore. But what they don't realize yet is that Rob actually does want to get revenge, and this won't be the last time he shows up with something bigger planned. Now, we have to talk about the bus, which kicks off with Gumball trying to ditch school by stretching his face to look older. Spoiler, it doesn't work. On the bus, Rocky casually mentions that he doesn't actually have to take them to school, and suddenly the kids realize they're free. They vote to hit up a water park instead, but things get weird fast. Banana Bob tries and fails to pull a movie-style bus jump, and a group of, quote, criminals board the bus, who are very clearly just the kids' parents, and Principal Brown in disguise. Only Gumball notices, while the others fall for it and fake the hostage act.
Oh, come on, guys. It's obviously not a bus.
It's ticking! And masked strangers have taken over the bus!
A chase breaks out when they grab a suitcase of real money, and the bus barrels towards an airport. The kids finally unmask the, quote, criminals, and are shocked it was their parents all along, even though Gumball literally said it was them. Turns out that Rob was somehow behind it the whole time, turning their fake stunt into an actual heist. He tries to blow up the bus and escape with the crash. Gumball then fights him on the plane wing, but Rob tricks the cops into arresting Gumball until Principal Brown clears things up.
No, wait!
No, not him, the other one.
It's too late now. He's got away with the money.
Rob tries to flee with the money, but surprise, they actually switched it with a bomb briefcase, and it explodes, launching him straight into a cop car.
No, he hasn't. That's the money. It's got my teeth marks in it.
Ah, we got the money back. He got away, but my shift ends in 5 minutes, so shall we say case closed?
But if this is the money, doesn't that mean that Dr. Wrecker has the...
Their fight sets up how dangerous Rob is becoming, and how far he's willing to go to mess with Gumball's life. And this is just the beginning to something way bigger down the road, where Rob finally puts up a good fight. But next is the Origins Part 1 and 2, and these two episodes have a ton of lore and are two of my personal favorite episodes. And in this, we get to see Darwin's full origin story, how he went from a pet goldfish to Gumball's best friend and brother. We are in Nicole's perspective as she struggles to manage a hyperactive 4-year-old Gumball. She eventually finds Gumball in his room acting adorably innocent, making it hard for her to stay angry. Exhausted and sleep deprived, Nicole and Richard decide if they want to get Gumball a pet fish in hopes of calming him down. And they do get it, and Gumball decides to name the fish Darwin, and he quickly starts growing attached.
What? but that spells Japuk's for us.
One morning, Darwin doesn't wake up. Nicole and Richard realize he's died. To avoid upsetting Gumball, Richard secretly buys him another fish. The cycle repeats several times, with Richard continuously replacing the dead Darwins. During the final attempt to replace Darwin, Richard visits the pet store only to be told by Larry that the last two fish jumped out of the tank when they saw him. As he walks home, unsure of what to do next, Richard is approached by a man in a mysterious van who offers him a very special fish.
There's just one thing. Whatever you do, don't get it wet.
It's a fish.
Wait, no, it was something else. Don't feed it after midnight.
But it's kinda always after midnight.
No, that wasn't it. It was something. Well, anyway, be careful. That fish is more special than it seems.
Richard gives Gumball this new special fish and goes right back to playing with him like nothing ever happened. But he quickly notices something is off. Darwin is different. He seems to understand what Gumball is saying and even copies his facial expressions. They start bonding, and when they reach out for each other, something clicks in their hearts. And then Darwin actually says Gumball's name. Gumball is super excited and rushes to show his parents, but Darwin tries to play it cool and act like a regular fish so that he can surprise him. And of course, that backfires, and Richard sees Darwin still lying still and thinks he's dead. As he's literally about to flush him down the toilet, Gumball jumps in just in time to stop it. But after Darwin unexpectedly jumps out of his bowl and startles Nicole and Richard, they accidentally knock Darwin into the toilet, flushing him away. In the very next episode, The Origins Part 2, it continues with the story from Part 1, and we see Darwin emerge from the sewer and end up in the ocean, where he meets the other fish. He asks for directions back home, but the fish tell him it's impossible for a fish to survive on land. Despite this, Darwin refuses to give up. He swims rapidly towards the surface and leaps onto the beach, but collapses, unable to breathe.
Anyway, thanks for showing me the way back to land.
Yeah, but fish can't survive on land.
I'll find a way. Love always finds a way.
You've said a lot of crazy things today. But that is by far the most stupid! You can't survive out of water!
Meanwhile, back at home, Gumball mourns over Darwin's loss. Richard and Nicole attempt to cheer him up, but Gumball insists that Darwin will return. At that moment, Darwin miraculously grows a heart and a pair of lungs. And this was because of his emotional bond with Gumball. After bidding farewell to the sea creatures, he begins his journey back home.
Buddy, I believe in you.
This journey isn't easy, as Darwin travels across deserts and valleys. He sings about his adventure, and as he goes further, he grows more and more tired, but soon sees that he's close to Elmore. He happily runs, but bumps into a rock and collapses. But Gumball still refuses to lose hope, saying that if he were with Darwin, he would kick him to keep moving. And out of nowhere, Darwin grows legs and feet, gains renewed strength, and begins running towards Elmore. Unfortunately though, he gets caught by pest control, thinking that he was a stray dog. By this point, Gumball is losing hope, assuming Darwin won't return. Darwin feels like Gumball is losing hope and forces himself to get up. With some encouragement from the other animals, he grabs the keys, unlocks the cages, and sets everyone free before heading out again. Back in Elmore, the Wattersons think Darwin is gone for good and decide to get a new pet. But right before Gumball finishes the adoption, he senses Darwin nearby and rushes out to find him, finally reuniting.
No, I can't! There's only one Darwin! He's here! Darwin's here! I can feel it! Gumball, wait!
Gumball!
Seeing Darwin's feet all torn up, Gumball takes off his green shoes and gives it to him. The family welcomes Darwin as one of their own. He's about to tell the whole story, but both he and Gumball pass out from exhaustion. Nicole and Richard quietly smile, load them in the car, and head home as the episode wraps up. The next episode has a fitting name for a final episode of a season, and it's called The Disaster. This one starts like any other day in Elmore. The Wattersons are driving to the mall and singing.
On kids, stop it with your yawning. It's a lovely morning.
We're off to buy some stuff at the Elmore Mall.
Saturdays are cool, 'cause we don't go to school.
And I am gonna buy some donkey drool. Sorry, that's all I have.
But they're not alone. In a mall parking lot, Rob meets the same man from the van who gave Richard Darwin, this time giving Rob a universal remote. He starts testing it, ejecting cash from ATMs, changing day to night, rewinding time, and going back to when he was in the void, watching how he was left behind, forgotten, and he was left all deformed. He rewinds and pauses time to tell Gumball himself that he will destroy him and everyone he loves. He unpauses it, but not before messing up the cars, and makes it look like Gumball caused a pileup.
Well, I won't ask you again.
But I'm just playing it.
I will destroy you and everyone you love.
Window, I mean, what's the worst that can happen?
Later at Laser Video, Rob messes with the subtitles that hurt Darwin and make him mad at Gumball. He disables the parental filters on Richard and Nicole, making them argue, and Anais chases them, who Gumball is trying to follow, but Rob darkens the screen and separates them all.
Your mother and I have come to an agreement. I'm getting a donut and she's getting a better husband.
What?
Gumball, please look after your sister. I have to go and de-ruin our lives.
Dad, wait!
Where are you going?
He managed to win Mom over once. Doing it again would be like nailing a backflip in high heels on a tightrope.
I'm supposed to be looking after you!
You will lose them all.
Anais, wait!
Eventually, time freezes, finally revealing himself. He tells Gumball how he will destroy everyone he loves, and that he never wanted to be a villain.
But how have you done this?
With this.
But why?
Wait up, this requires the right mood. You have only yourself to blame. You being the hero of all this means that I have to be the villain. But I never wanted to be the villain. I wanted to be the cute sidekick who gets his own plush toy in a spin-off show.
He's about to kick him into the void, but then a fight breaks out, trying to take the remote, but Rob gets it back and tosses Gumball towards the void. The batteries are dead, so he throws the remote into the void, making Gumball go after it. He manages to get him back, and it turns out the battery was messed up, and last second he presses rewind. The whole episode reverses itself and continues into the next season. Now, Season 5 dropped on September 1st, 2016, but it's really the next episode and the part 2 of The Disaster, and it's called The Rerun. And in it, Gumball's reality is glitching again, but this time he remembers. He's back in the mall, reliving the disaster caused by Rob and his universal remote, only now he's aware of what's about to happen. It kicks off like just before. The Wattersons are singing on their way to Elmore Mall, but Gumball feels off. He's already seen this before. And when he tries to jump into Darwin and Anais's verse and gets it wrong, it sparks a vivid flashback of Rob's original timeline wrecking chaos. And right on cue, the family car crashes, but instead of arguing, Gumball just walks it off, already knowing how it's gonna play out. He convinces Darwin that Rob is going after him, and they both chase after him. Gumball tackles Rob, trying to stop him from zapping Nicole and Richard, but he accidentally rewinds them into babies. Gumball, Darwin, and Anais regroup, only to realize that if their parents are babies, they will no longer exist. First, it's Anais who disappears, and then Darwin literally shrivels up and dies. In this moment, he's put in an even worse situation than before, and right when they're about to fight for the remote again, this time, Gumball fights back and accidentally wins, wrestling the remote away and sending Rob into the void. But he goes in to save him, for some reason, but now is slowly starting to disappear. Inside the void, Gumball finds Rob, who insists he deserves to be here, but Gumball doesn't give up. Even as he fades away, he chases down Rob and throws him the remote. Finally, Rob has the chance to end it all, and all he had to do was press the power button, and Gumball would be no more.
Thank you.
Dagnabbit!
However, he can't do this and hits the rewind button. Both of them finally make up. However, in order to fix everything, Rob has to rewind everything back, destroying their friendship they've built. He goes all the way to the beginning of the disaster in the van and he smashes the remote before it even causes trouble. We get closure for Rob, growth for Gumball, a deeper sense of stakes, and a reminder that even in a cartoon world, actions, especially the ones we undo, still mean something. Gumball learned that fixing the past isn't just about undoing mistakes, but taking responsibility for them. And Rob, usually the villain, was showed that he was more than that. He made the selfless choice to reset everything, even if it meant just going back to being a bad villain. But next, in the choices, we get to see more lore about Nicole. It starts with Nicole struggling to cook a meal, while her family is either super unhelpful or outright disrespectful, only adding more anger. The chaos peaks when the food catches fire and Darwin sprays Nicole with whipped cream.
I got this!
She's about to lash out, but then suddenly time freezes from Nicole's perspective, and she wonders how her life came to this point and quickly determines that it was the day that she met Richard. We flash back to Nicole's childhood. Her parents are driving her to a karate tournament, and despite her A's, her mom nags her for having an F, even though it was literally just her gender. Well, her dad gets so mad in traffic that he punches the car, sending the engine flying. With 5 minutes left, Nicole ditches the car and runs. She avoids wet poured cement and takes a different route through the park. Along the way, she ignores younger versions of Banana Bob, Harold, Mr. Small, Sal Left Thumb, and so many more characters. And when she's lost, she stumbles upon a young Richard, literally stuck in a log asking for help.
And that's when I saw him.
A little help, please.
Back in the present, Nicole wonders what if she had made different choices. First, she imagines plowing through the cement, making it to the tournament, and becoming a wildly successful, power-hungry dictator in the future, until she's overthrown. Then, she imagines dating Banana Bob, but his non-stop banana singing drives her insane. Next, she tries a future with Harold, but it ends up with her setting his house on fire. Mr. Small's path ends up with her dying. After going through all this, she realizes that the only person she ever could have had in her life is Richard. We return to the flashback, where Nicole helps Richard, who says people already like her, especially him.
But lots of people already like you.
Really? Like who?
She misses the tournament, but Richard cheers her up and tells her, maybe you should start living your life. So she does. In this episode, we see where Nicole came from, how much pressure she was under, and how her whole life was about success and approval. But in the end, it remains that real happiness doesn't come from being perfect or winning. It comes from the people who stick by you. Nicole didn't choose the best life on paper. She chose the one that made her feel loved, seen, and free. It's about letting go what could have happened and accepting what is. Next, in the Copycats, the Wattersons stumble upon a knockoff family that copies everything they do. While at the supermarket, Gumball and Darwin stumble upon a new exotic food section and begin sampling the items and talking about how odd they are. And as they walk by, another pair of siblings named Chi-Chi and Ribbit approach the same section. They proceed to go word for word, bar for bar, saying what Gumball and Darwin say, leading to a brief face-off that ends up with all four of them gagging from the weird food. Later, Gumball and Darwin complain to their family about the doppelgangers. At first, Nicole and Richard dismiss their concerns, explaining that everyone has a lookalike somewhere. However, they soon spot the entire family of the Wattersons lookalikes, driving an identical car near them on the road. Doppelganger family perfectly imitates the Wattersons' reactions, distracting them and causing the real Wattersons to crash. Gumball Gumball investigates further and discovers that the imitators are TV stars in China, starring in a show called The Incredible World of Chi-Chi. The Watersons initially mock the poor translations on the character bios of the show's website, and laugh at the fact that Anais doesn't have one.
Oh, here's my doppelganger, Chi-Chi. This goat is attention of the center.
And Mighty, you weren't interested with lunch. What's that? Yes, he is determined.
However, the mood shifts when they realize that the family has been profiting from copying the Watersons' lives, while they themselves continue to struggle financially. When Richard accidentally knocks over the couch, the doppelgangers do the exact same, so the Watersons once again confront their doppelgangers. What starts as a calm talk quickly turns into a full-on fight, with each Waterson matched because they're copying one another, except for Anais, because they don't like daughters in China. But after they fight, Anais calls for a truce, guessing that the copycats are just super fans and are trying to flatter them. The family tries to set a better example by singing a motivational song about being their own you.
What you are doing is straight up criminal.
So just try.
Be your own you.
Be your own you.
But this backfires instantly, and the copycats post their own version, plus a reaction video. With no other options, Anais suggests that they start living so recklessly that the copycats can't keep up. The next day, the Watersons go wild, pulling stunts, taking risks, and doing a bunch of crazy things. But somehow, the copycats survive everything. So the Watersons hijack a fuel truck and drive at full speed towards an unfinished bridge.
Am I the only one who understands what it means to go one step further than almost?
We go slower?
Just before it flies off, Anais unhooks the hook from the tank in a fiery explosion, and Nicole slams the brakes just in time. But since the other family doesn't have an Anais of their own, they can't stop the truck in time and end up plunging straight into the unfinished bridge. By the next day, the incredible world of Chi-Chi is gone from the internet. Gumball and Darwin proudly declare themselves irreplaceable, right before glitching mid-sentence and getting new voices. After this episode aired, Miracle Star, the show Gumball was clearly roasting, ended up getting cancelled. It only had 12 episodes and scored a brutal 1.3 out of 10 on IMDb. The Copycats was the perfect way to call out the knockoffs, while also sending a message about being original. And it did it all in the funniest way possible. Not only did we get the end of Miracle Star, but we also got a big shift for Gumball itself. The moment in the episode where Gumball and Darwin's voices glitched and changed, the reason for that happening was their actual voice actors changing. Jacob Hopkins and Terrell Ransom Jr. had aged out their roles, so Nicholas Cantu, most notable for having beef with Dream, and Donnell Hansley Jr., with his most recent role in BMF, stepped in. They pick up right where their old voices left off, saying one last goodbye to the old ones and welcoming in the new. But the Gumball lore only continues. In The Matchmaker, Darwin opens the episode with a sad song called Without You, in which he talks about his feelings for someone. Gumball finds him staring at a photo on his computer and assumes it's Terry, and immediately ropes Carrie into him playing matchmaker.
Yeah, but still, would you help me make her fall in love with Darwin?
Well, it depends. Who's the her in this conversation?
Terry! Darwin's into Terry.
Oh, really? I see.
I know! Weird, right? I thought he was into you, but nope, it's definitely Terry. There's photographic evidence if you want to see it. Look! 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 See? It's her! It's Terry! Look at it! Can you see? Look! 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 You're not looking!
Carrie agrees, though she's secretly heartbroken, as we saw in Halloween. There was something between the two, but nothing ever really happened. she goes along with it in order to sabotage Darwin and Terry's relationship. First, they try tricking Terry into a fake quarantine, but Carrie sabotages it. Then, Gumball pushes Darwin to confess his feelings, which only makes things more awkward. At the library, Gumball's next plan is to marry Darwin and Terry online. That's when Carrie finally cracks. She admits she's been ruining the plans because she's in love with Darwin, and Gumball fully sympathizes with her, but tells her that Darwin's moved on. Heartbroken, Carrie agrees to help for real this time, and brews a love potion using Darwin's shoe and a piece of Terry in her own hair. After they brew the potion, Gumball dips an arrow in it and shoots both Darwin and Terry, and just like that, they fall in love. But when Gumball thinks he did the right thing, he realizes that the photo wasn't of Terry, but of course it was Carrie, and she just didn't show up in the image because, well, she's a ghost. So Gumball and Carrie scramble to break Darwin and Terry up, using everything from wedding invites to cooties, but nothing works. It wasn't until Darwin sees Carrie cry that it breaks him free from the spell, and they both share a sweet kiss. Finally, after almost 4.5 years, Darwin and Carrie's shippers finally get the moment they'd been waiting for. It was always about Gumball and Penny, but now Darwin finally found his own partner, and from here, things only get better. Just as everything starts to look up for Darwin, though, Gumball finds himself in a very different situation, having to break up with Rob. In the X, Gumball and Penny are on a casual date at Elmore Mall when Gumball spots his nemesis, Rob. He instantly gets way too excited, revealing that he actually talks about Rob a lot, which makes sense because I'm sure Gumball's just fueling his ego off that. Anyways, then Gumball receives what he thinks is a threatening message from Rob, only to find out it was actually meant for Banana Joe. Turns out, Rob's officially done with being Gumball's nemesis. He's moved on to hate someone else. The whole thing plays out like a breakup, awkwardly while Penny is just standing right there. The next day, Rob drops off a box of Nemesis stuff at Gumball's door, symbolizing the end. Gumball is crushed. In an attempt to win Rob back, he blasts a song that he used to hate, but Rob doesn't care. Just like that, their long-standing rivalry is over. Rob shifts his efforts to Banana Joe, setting up elaborate traps, exploding burgers, and over-the-top contraptions. You know, the stuff he would do to Gumball. But Gumball keeps showing up and sabotaging every single one. He even puts on a banana suit to provoke Rob into hating him again, only to get served a cease and desist letter from Banana Joe for infringing on his banana brand.
Oh, come on! That joke was terrible! Fine! You want me to go full Banana Joe? Cause I'll do it!
Gumball Watterson, you've been served.
Apparently making terrible jokes, jumping around, and replacing song lyrics with the word banana is a breach of intellectual property rights. Ay caramba.
Running out of ideas, Gumball, definitely not stealing Penny's idea, decides to pretend to be Rob's friend and help him take down Banana Joe. But instead of helping, he completely ruins it, booby-trapping the whole house, sending Tobias flying instead, and flashing his camera, accidentally warning Banana Joe and ruining the trap. Finally, Rob snaps, screaming that Gumball is the most annoying person he's ever met. And while Gumball just smiles, knowing he got his nemesis back. And just like that, they're enemies again. And Gumball apologizes to Penny for, you know, being a bad boyfriend the whole episode.
Smooth things over with Penny as well. I couldn't find any cards that said, sorry I spent all this time ignoring you because I was trying to get some dude to hate me.
So what did you do? Thank goodness, I couldn't breathe in there.
Yeah, I couldn't find any balloons either.
The whole reason Rob probably wanted to leave Gumball alone was because during the rerun, they had made peace. Rob even helped save the world, but after his rewound time, Gumball forgot everything that happened. So Rob is the only one who remembers. So by the time this episode rolls around, Gumball's clueless behavior reopens the wounds, reigniting Rob's hatred and restarting their rivalry once again. But next, we gotta talk about the puppet, where Gumball and Darwin are cleaning out their attic for a garage sale, and they come across toys from when they were younger. First is their digital pet, and then the almighty Flies toy, and finally, a pair of puppets named Frank and Howdy. Gumball says it's time to grow up and let them go, but Darwin decides to keep the puppets anyway. He even makes promises through them, promising that they'll run forever and that he'll never take them off his hands. At the bus stop, Darwin still has the puppets on. Howdy flirts with Rocky, which distracts him while driving the school bus and causes a crash. At lunch, Darwin hides the puppets under the table, but they overhear Gumball making fun of Rocky and get offended. They start insulting Gumball through Darwin, leading to an argument between the brothers. Gumball finally leaves after smacking Darwin with his meat from his sandwich. Hey yo, pause! At home, Darwin is bathing with the puppet still on his hands. Gumball hears him talking and comes in. After realizing Darwin is still using the puppet, Gumball pulls them off and throws them in the trash. Darwin is upset. That night, Frank and Howdy climb out of the trash, bring back Grady, and sneak into the house. They destroy Gumball's game console, then confront the boys. When Gumball asks why Darwin took them back, Frank says Darwin made a promise. Gumball tells Darwin to stop playing along, but Puppet say it's too late. Gumball reluctantly puts on Grady to go after Darwin. Wearing Grady puts Gumball into a puppet world. He and Grady search through a strange environment filled with past imaginary characters. They find Darwin in a house, stuck in a loop playing games with Frank and Howdy before they sing a song about having fun. It's repetitive and draining, and when Gumball tries to get out, Grady betrays him. The puppets reveal it was all a setup, and now they want both of them to play. Gumball and Darwin are forced to do all the things they used to make the puppets do. Fighting, eating gross things, wearing itchy costumes, but eventually, Darwin spots a string on Grady's arm and pulls it. He also rips Frank and Howdy apart. The puppets scream as the world collapses. Back in the real world, Gumball and Darwin are sitting outside during the yard sale. Nicole asks if it's okay to get rid of their old toys. They say yes, and then Grady attacks Billy. The boys quickly respond, yeah, pretty sure.
Sure you're okay with me giving away your old toys?
Yeah, pretty sure.
What really makes the puppet stand out is how it's completely different from a typical Gumball episode, in the best way possible. Thanks to the collaboration from Becky Solon and Joseph Pelling, the minds behind Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, a series that looks like a harmless kids show, but dives into creepy territory, unpacking themes like creativity, time, and control with dark humor and unsettling twists. Solon and Pelling co-wrote this episode and designed the puppets, Frank, Howdy, and Grady, bringing that same offbeat, handmade weirdness into Gumball's world. It may feel strange or even off-putting at first, but that's the point. It just shows how far the creators are willing to go to tell a story in a new and completely unexpected way. But now, we're finally at the last episode of Season 5, The List, when Gumball and Darwin notice Nicole looking kind of weird while looking through some old stuff. They get curious, and it turns out she's reading an old bucket list she made when she was 16, full of dreams she never got to chase. So the boys decide to help her by doing her chores, but they accidentally grab the dream list instead. Close enough, right? First up, earn a degree. Naturally, they buy a fake online diploma in hostilic medicine. They ride marathon runners to run a marathon, beatbox while pretending to construct an orchestra, and invent the stump butler, along with a face and suit. And for some reason, it actually makes them rich. Then they give all the money away to a homeless man, only for him to get buried in it. They fight a monk with a frying pan, drag a dolphin onto land, and climb a literal mountain of trash. Each stunt checks off another box. Finally, Nicole catches up to them and realizes they've been working through her old list. She's a bit embarrassed, but Darwin gently reminds her it's never too late to live a dream. To cap it off, they take her on a world tour, using Elmore maps, zooming from the beach to Tokyo to space and back. She's touched by the whole thing, until she hands them the actual to-do list. Chores still need doing.
See the world? Check!
Thank you for that. Guess you're never too old to learn something new. Here, I have something for you, too.
What is it?
The list of chores you agreed to.
This one's all about gratitude. Nicole gave up a lot for her family, and the boys' chaotic effort to make her dreams come true reminds us that saying thank you doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be from the heart. Premiering January 5th, 2018, the first episode of Season 6 finally dropped, giving us our first look at baby Anais and our introduction into the family. The rival begins with a flashback where Nicole is in labor, and the Wattersons rush to the hospital to deliver Anais. As Nicole struggles, Richard tries to help her while Gumball and Darwin, then ages 6 and 8, excitedly imagine how great it will be to have a baby sister.
I, for one, cannot wait to meet our new little sister.
I know, right? It'll really improve our game of knights and princesses. And having a sister will make us better listeners.
Exactly. And having a sister will make us better listeners. Plus, we look cool when we protect her from bullies. Okay, maybe not.
With time running out, Richard drives directly through the hospital building. When the car exits, Anais has been born. On the drive home, Gumball and Darwin are overjoyed to meet Anais, but she quickly reveals a sinister side by throwing them both out of the car onto wet concrete.
Boys, say hello to your little sister.
Anais! Huh? Look at her. She's so sweet, she's giving me cavities.
Dude, I think you had a little accident.
It's just my heart melting.
At home, the boys begin to question her hostile nature. While watching a nature documentary about violent animal siblings, Darwin suggests Anais might be scared, and then try to show her love. When they visit her, she shows them drawings with their skeletons buried under flowers, implying her dark intentions. Trying to bond with Anais, Gumball and Darwin play hide and seek, but end up on a freeway nearly hit by a truck. Back home, Anais frames them for the vandalism and mistreatment, crying on cue as Nicole and Richard walk in.
Hey, what's that?
No one loves you. Signed, Gumball and Darwin. Ugh, I would never write something like that. No one loves you. Well, yeah, that's more like it.
What is going on here?
Nicole assures the boys are still loved, but Anais quietly declares war. Her attacks escalate from exploding candles to booby traps, including a bath and a toy car bomb. At breakfast, she glares at them while offering a paper bag filled with bees. Gumball nearly gives up, but Darwin reminds them that Anais is still a baby. That night, they try to mail her to a dog food factory, but she was never in the box. When a garbage truck hauls it away, they chase it, believing she's inside. Gumball goes through literal hell to find out the box was only empty, but Anais appears and nearly pushes them into the fire. Then she says her first words. Gumball did it. And then Nicole and Richard charge in with Anais happier than ever.
Oh my gosh, her first words! Yes, Gumball, it's me! She's trying to say my name! Yes?
Gumball did it!
Huh?
This episode explores the early days of Anais' life and how her chaotic relationship with Gumball and Darwin began. It shows how, from the moment she arrived as a baby, Anais was far more clever and dangerous than anyone expected. Gumball and Darwin's attempts to bond with her quickly spiraled into a one-sided war, setting the tone for their lifelong dynamic and rivalry. But next, in The Father, we get more bonding with Richard and his father Frankie. Frankie shows up to the Wattersons' house, where Richard enthusiastically greets him for Vermin Man's Day. The family, Richard, Nicole, the kids, Granny Jojo, and Louie celebrate with a bizarre ritual involving a song, dance, and burning a wooden figure that looks suspiciously like Frankie. Richard believes it's an old tradition started by the Pilgrims abandoned by their dads, but Frankie realizes Jojo invented it to distract Richard from remembering the day he was abandoned. He apologizes and leaves, feeling guilty.
Mom said it started when the Pilgrims first came to this land and they were all abandoned by their deadbeat father. You know, the British.
No, son. I think it was probably invented by your mom, because she can't stand me.
I invented it to distract our son from remembering the date you walked out on us. And yes, because I can't stand you.
I'm sorry, Richard. I shouldn't have come. I can't make up for what I've done to you.
The next day, Richard is depressed about his absent father. The kids try cheering him up with music and food, but nothing works. They take him cloud watching, but every cloud just reminds him of Frankie. Out of options, the kids encourage Richard to talk about his dad and focus on building a future with him, rather than dwelling on the past. Richard and Frankie start bonding with activities like playing catch, shaving, and fishing, but each moment is ruined by Frankie's criminal behavior, including theft, trespassing, and using Richard in a getaway car. Eventually, Richard gets fed up with it and storms off. And Frankie is confused, until Richard explains he wants a real connection, not crime.
Okay, I think that's enough.
What? What did I do wrong?
It's no good. I thought this would be a father and son bonding thing. You know, we talk about life.
Oh, that's cool. Let's do that now.
That would be nice.
Okay, so life. Life is like 15, 20 years, but you can be out in 10 with good behavior.
Finally, Frankie opens up, saying he never wanted Richard to end up like him, and praises him for being a better parent. Richard says he's improved because of the kids and urges Frankie to do the same. They talk a little bit, and it gets revealed that Richard may have inherited a bit of his dad's pickpocketing skills after all. This episode digs into the roots of Richard's issues with abandonment and shows his relationship with his dad, Frankie. It's a rare moment of vulnerability for Richard, who usually acts childish and carefree. But here, we see the emotional cost of growing up without a father figure. In the end, both Richard and Frankie confront their past, making amends and a commitment to do better. It's a story about second chances, owning your mistakes, and how love and growth don't always come from perfect people, but from the effort to be better than before. But let's move on to the parents, where the Wattersons meet Nicole's parents, Danielle and Mary, and invite them to stay. Nicole is not happy because she hasn't talked to her parents in ages, and for a good reason. Nicole blames her parents for pushing too hard, literally naming her doctor and dressing her in suits as a baby, and on top of that, cramming every single possible activity into her life. Her mom Mary says Nicole was difficult too, holding up a Mother's Day painting of thumbs down as proof. Her parents insist they just wanted her to succeed. They hit back by accusing Nicole of anger issues, smashing a car, sending a kid to the hospital, and stealing their car to see Richard, which got them sued. Then Mary insults Richard for not having a job. Nicole says she got them off to have a fresh start, and when Nicole brings up how they missed her wedding, the fight continues to spiral until no one even remembers why it started. But in a last-ditch effort, Gumball starts singing a song, and this song somehow makes them make up, and they hug for the first time in decades.
Nicole,
I don't want to hear your excuses.
I just want you guys back.
In this season, we see that not only Nicole, but Richard didn't grow up in a loving household, with siblings they care about, or with parents who are as chill as them. For Richard, it's subtle. He brushes everything off with jokes or food, but moments like this reveals he understands what it's like to feel unwanted. And for Nicole, we finally see all the pressure her parents have been putting her under. But this episode doesn't just unpack the pain, it lets her begin to heal. And by the end, she doesn't need an apology. She just needs her parents to show up. And for once, they do. It's messy, but it's a start. But next, we gotta talk about the transformation, where Penny asks Gumball to help her with a serious family matter. Of course, being the great boyfriend he is, Gumball shows up to the Fitzgerald's house to help Penny with whatever she needs. No one answers the door though, so he decides to sneak in through the backyard. But that ends in disaster. He hops over the wrong fence, activates sprinklers, throws the cake and his clothes over the fence, then climbs over, only for his clothes to get shredded in Patrick's wood chipper. And to make it even worse, his underwear sags on the fence and flies off, leaving him naked under a spotlight in front of the whole Fitzgerald family.
Wrong backyard!
Who's there?
Oh no! Man, my clothes! What the? Oh
no! I think that offers perspective. You think you're all wrong and you're right, typical kid.
Patrick, Judith, Good evening.
Cut to dinner, and now Gumball is wearing a borrowed Santa suit. Completely humiliated. As the real conflict begins, Patrick is furious that Penny stopped wearing her shell. Even though the last time I checked, that was 3 seasons ago. But whatever. He sees it as an embarrassment, and it breaks from the family tradition. Penny argues that it caused her emotional distress, and that being herself shouldn't be shameful. Her mom, Judith, is calm but firm. She thinks that keeping the shell means respect for their heritage. Patrick and Penny each tell dramatic stories. Gumball's stuck in the middle and is forced to pick a side. So he buys his time by telling his own story, and then another, and then another. First, each story gets more layered and ridiculous, ending in the same standoff. 2 characters waiting for the other to change. Finally, Penny has had enough. She points out that telling the same story from different angles doesn't change anyone's mind. Patrick, to everyone's surprise, agrees. They've all been repeating the same arguments, just louder, so they decide to let it go. They don't agree, but understand each other a little better. And just as they go to thank Gumball for helping patch things up, he's already sprinting down the street in his Santa suit, desperate to escape another family meltdown.
Maybe we just need to agree to disagree.
Yeah, it's like riding a 3-legged horse. It won't be a smooth ride, and it will definitely hurt your butt. But at least it still goes somewhere.
Wow, that was really smart, Gumball, using those stories to show us how...
For Penny, leaving her shell wasn't just a look, it was about her way of being real. But Patrick never fully accepted it, quietly holding on to old traditions. Still, after a night of stories, arguments, and weird metaphors, they manage to meet in the middle. Patrick doesn't change overnight, but he finally agrees with Penny on something, solving their long feud that lasted for seasons. But in the next episode, The Future, things get weird, fast. Barbara Banana paints a new portrait of herself, painting that very picture, with a shadowy figure looming behind her. It's Rob, and he kidnaps her without a word. A week later, Banana Joe is putting up missing posters for his mom. Gumball and Darwin try to help, but mostly just mess things up. Joe is used to Barbara vanishing. Once she was gone for a week and turned up in the ceiling fan, but this time it feels different. So the trio sets off to find her.
Then there was the time we found her playing a chicken in the TV show.
Wow, I knew she could paint the future, but I didn't know she can act.
It was more of a musical act. Where is she?
Don't worry, buddy. We will find your mom.
Joe explains that his mom was once totally normal, but after getting overworked by Mr. Chanex, she hit a breaking point, and that's when the vision started. Ever since, she's been painting glimpses of the future, most of them eerily accurate. The boys decide that to find her, they need to think like her, which means doing everything totally randomly. Meanwhile, Rob has Barbara tied up in a warehouse, forcing her to paint the future. But the images are too cryptic. Barbara secretly adds clues for the boys, but Gumball and the crew are way too deep in their random mindset to get it. Eventually, Barbara paints one last canvas, and it becomes a literal portal that the boys drop right into the warehouse.
Gumball.
Rob. Name.
A battle breaks out. Rob starts using Barbara's powers to warp reality itself. Darwin and Joe get knocked out, and Gumball's left alone. Rob declares he needs to know the future to save Elmore, but Gumball grabs a painting of Rob and erases him out of existence with a paintbrush. Barbara and Joe reunite, but Gumball, feeling guilty, asks her to paint Rob back. She agrees, sort of. She paints him into a void-like painting, saying there is no future, and then the screen glitches to static, and the final flicker is Superintendent Evil's face. This episode digs deep into Rob's motivations. Turns out he doesn't just want revenge, he's desperate for control over what's coming. It also reveals more about Barbara Banana's powers, showing that she might not just see the future, she can alter it. The ending hits hard. There is is no future. This isn't just a creepy line, it sets the tone for what's coming. This pulls back the curtains on Rob's desperation, not for power, but for control over something even scarier, the unknown. He's not just trying to change his fate, he's fighting against being forgotten. And in doing that, we get a deeper glimpse into Barbara Banana, whose visions are more than just weird paintings. They're a roadmap for the show's bigger picture. But now, let's skip to the season finale, the Inquisition. It starts with chaos. Principal Brown bursts into the teacher's lounge, totally panicked that the superintendent is coming. And not just any superintendent. When he arrives, we see why everyone is freaking out. He's a live-action human, towering and grim. He calls himself Superintendent Evil. He declares the school is too weird, too cartoony, so he tries to fix it by stripping away everything that makes Elmore Elmore.
I am here to correct your outlandish behavior. Any questions regarding my methods will also be severely punished. This school is diseased, and I'm the medicine. Any questions? Very good. Looking forward to working with you.
Things go south quick. Terry loses her face, Ellen is forced into a realistic human body, Masami bursts mid-transformation, warning that Gumball and Darwin are next. One by one, their classmates get turned into creepy, uncanny valley versions of themselves. Even Rocky and Juke transform in strange sci-fi pods. Superintendent Evil tells Gumball and Darwin that he's almost finished. The boys escape and realize the only way to stop this is being as weird and cartoonish as possible. So they do this, goofing around with Banana Joe, embracing Sussy's weirdness, and even kissing Sarah by accident while trying to find Penny. And it works. Their classmates slowly start reverting back. Eventually, everyone's restored, just in time for Superintendent Evil to corner them again.
What do you think you're...
Putting an end to your nonsense!
We'll see about that.
This fight? Really?
Take him down.
But he slips on Banana Joe's peel, and then the students pull his face off, revealing it's Rob. He says he wasn't trying to hurt anyone, but he was trying to save them. Something's coming, and changing Elmore was the only way to prepare. But before he can explain, Tina knocks him out, and then things get darker. That night, Rob wakes up in the school alone, and the ground begins to crack beneath him.
Why did they stop me? Transformation is the only chance they have of escaping to the other place when this world... Oh no.
This episode ties everything together. Rob's arc, Barbara Banana's visions, the void, but somehow it still leaves us on the biggest cliffhanger imaginable. But that marked the final episode of season 6, and the final episode of The Amazing World of Gumball. But now we have the new series, The Wonderfully Weird World of Gumball. So if you want to watch that, click here. Or probably, I don't know. I have to end this video right now though, so we can end it exactly 2 hours.